Hello and welcome to another one of my watch videos. Today we're looking at a very poor quality Rolex Datejust fake or replica, whatever you like to call it. Thought I'd go over a couple of the key points to help you identify a fake. Again, this is a lower quality fake. It was given to me kind of as a gag gift, so anybody that spends a bunch of money on a fake Rolex, I just can't understand. The quality is nowhere near what you would get with a real thing, but for those of you that are interested in some of the differences, these are the most common quality fakes out there. There are definitely ones out there with far better quality that are much harder to tell the difference between a real and a fake. However, let me show you on this video some of the more common ways to tell a fake Rolex. As I said, these cheaper ones are more common. It is my understanding that this watch came from China, which seems highly likely. So let's get a look at some of the key features that this fake Rolex is missing. First thing you may notice is that there's no crown on this watch. This is such a high quality piece that it decided to dislocate itself from the head of the watch itself, and I don't know where it went. If we take a look at the crystal itself and the dial, first thing we'll notice is that the date window, the number 2, does not take up the majority of the date window. A genuine Rolex, the 2 should take up almost all of the cyclops. This is about maybe 1.5 magnification, I believe, and the genuine would be about 2.5. I could be off a little bit on those numbers, but again, the date window is nowhere near as full as it should be. The magnification on this watch is way too weak to be a genuine Rolex. If we take a look at the printing on the dial, I can get it. It looks like really basic print. It's just black print, and it's kind of blocky in some parts and too thin in others. It's just horrible in terms of its quality of printing compared to a real one. If you've ever seen a real Rolex, you'll see that they put a much higher emphasis on the printing on their dials than this fake has. And in fact, more down where it says officially certified. Certified seems a little bit bent under chronometer, in that it's kind of tilting down. It's not perfectly straight. One of the things I will say though is if you look at the ticking of the second hand, if I can get this to refocus here, it's got a very smooth sweep. That's one of the things I think they get really well on this watch, actually, is that the ticking of the second hand is near as makes no difference, almost identical to a normal Rolex. They have a very high beat per minute on this replica, so I will say that they did a good job on that aspect of it. But just about everything else is very poorly executed. And if we take a look at the back, you'll notice another big no-no. Rolex does not use see-through backs. All of their watches had the traditional oyster case, which has a very different locking mechanism than these little lug holes here. And like I said, there wouldn't be any glass viewing window. Let's take the bracelet off and take a look at some other pieces of this. There we go. So if you look at the bracelet itself, the back side of the bracelet is very rough feeling. It's kind of really flimsy feeling. If you've ever held a real Rolex, you'll notice a difference immediately. It's just horribly finished on the back side. If you look at the clasp, the Rolex logo is a little bit crooked on some of these. When it says Rolex, it's slightly off center and a little bit crooked. You would not find that on a real Rolex. And just the whole quality of this bracelet is very rough. Let's see, it's even getting snagged over here. And again, it's just of a very poor quality. So if we look at the watch itself, those of you familiar with Rolexes know that they mark their cases. Over here should be a serial number, which is suspiciously absent, and on the other end of the watch we should be looking for a model number. I believe this would be a 16013 they were trying to replicate here. Again, there's nothing marked here on the case. Again, a real Rolex would have the model number on one end and the serial number on the other. This one clearly has neither. And the underside of this is very rough feeling as well. They didn't polish it very well. Again, the case back is completely wrong. They would never put water-resistant stainless steel on the back of this with a see-through window. The only Rolex case backs that even have any marking on them at all, to my understanding, are the Tudor Rolexes. But this case back should be completely stainless steel or blank, unless it still has a hologram on it. So you would never see this. This is something, unless an aftermarket jeweler did, you would never see a case back like this. And anybody familiar with the Rolex movement recognizes that this immediately too is not a Rolex movement. The finish work on this is really bad. It's just bare metal. There's absolutely no attention to detail put into this. All the gears are of a cheap stainless steel. Rolex, if you've seen the inside of most of their movements, they have colored gears. They're about a red color on the top. And all this is just very rough compared to the finish work on a normal Rolex movement. And even a normal Rolex movement, by comparison to like a Jaeger-LeCoultre movement or a Patek Philippe movement, is very undecorated, but by Rolex standards this is terrible. They don't mark their rotors either, to my understanding. Rolex don't. And if you Google a Rolex movement, you'll see that this rotor design even is nothing like a real Rolex movement would be. And again, a plastic retainer ring, nothing you would find in a genuine Rolex. The movement would be perfectly fitted to the case, so you wouldn't need this. And again, here's that dial with the horrible printing on it. And the very poor quality, I'm assuming Chinese sourced movement that powers it. So I've seen a watch like this, if you're going to buy one, and again, I'm not the audience for this, but don't pay more than like $10 for something like this thing. It's a gag gift at best from my perspective. But if you have any interest in watchmaking, pick one of these up and dissect it as I plan to do with this one. You'll get far more out of it than wearing a dubious piece of jewelry on your wrist. So I hope you enjoyed the review, and stay tuned for more.